Thanks for being here. Yesterday morning, we put out a immediate release to you all to brief you about a sex assault that happened in the University City Division. It was the 2100 block of Kumara Road up in the University City Division. So we have Captain Jim Ivy. He's here today to share with you. We got some requests in from y'all, and just here to recap the situation and provide some information. So Captain Ivy.
Thank you guys for coming. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of information to share in regards to the results of the investigation at this point. Our detectives have been out there all yesterday and all this morning canvassing for witnesses and cameras, and we are still looking for our suspect. So really, this is a plea to the public that if you have any information on this case, to please call Crime Stoppers, and to anyone that lives in the area to please call 911 if you see anything suspicious or anyone suspicious in the area that you believe is worthy of officers to check out. We do have some physical evidence from the case that we have prioritized at our crime lab for analysis. It's going to take some days for the results of that to come back. In the meantime, we're working very hard to find out who might have committed this terrible attack. Our victim and no one living in the apartment, I'd like to point out, were UNCC students. Not that that makes it any less, but I know a lot of times that is a question. The victim in this case was physically attacked. She was strangled. She had to be treated at the hospital following, but she was very brave, was able to fight off her attacker before anything worse could happen, and her roommates had stepped in as well to help scare off this individual. So we just want people to be aware we're working the case very hard, and if they have any information to please, again, call Crime Stoppers or call 911.
Were you guys able to locate it at all?
The cell phone had been disabled to where we were not able to locate it.
Can you walk us through, like, just the events of how it happened? Knocked on the door early in the morning. Was she expecting, or was anybody in her home? I'm sorry, did you say she had roommates?
She does have roommates.
Okay. Was anybody expecting, like, a delivery, food, anything?
So she opened the door believing that it was one of her friends or roommates at the door. And just as a safety tip, no matter who you are, if you don't know who's at the door, if it's a strange time where somebody might be knocking, make sure that you know who is on the other side of the door before you open up. So she innocently opened the door and was immediately attacked.
You said physical evidence, DNA, blood?
We hope that there's DNA. Obviously, it has to be analyzed to see what exactly is there by the lab, but we did collect evidence that we do believe will contain DNA.
And can you talk about, are you working in coordination with UNCC? Just, I know after a situation like this, that student's going to be on high alert, roommates, other students are going to be on high alert. Can you talk about any sort of conversations that you guys have had with them?
I know that yesterday afternoon, the University Division captain did have conversations with UNCC police, and they are in close contact, as they always are, to make sure that they coordinate any response, and as well as ensuring the area remains safe.
I think our Glenn Counts, did a little crime mapping of that area. Didn't find any kind of incidents like this. Seems sort of out of the ordinary.
We don't have any other sex assaults in the area. Nothing else that's related that we are aware of. There was a break-in reported in this same apartment earlier in the week, but it was just what seemed to be a typical break-in with nobody at home, and we're looking at that as well and seeing any evidence there could be compared to our case, but we don't see any links between a break-in and then this one.
In the same complex or the actual same apartment?
In the same apartment. In the same apartment.
How long ago?
That was on the 3rd. That was on the 3rd.
So
It was when it was reported. So they had been gone for a couple of days, and they came back and found the apartment had been broken into.
if you could walk us through how you dissect a situation like this, of if this right here was just a crime of opportunity, or if this right here might be something larger, like a stalking case that these individuals were targeted.
We don't have any information that they're specifically targeted. Nothing that they've been able to provide us has led us to that. So we're really unsure at this point.
So now, everyone in that building are students?
No.
Oh, okay, just that apartment?
Nobody in that apartment was a student. Nobody involved in this incident are UNCC students.
Oh, I'm sorry, you said.
Oh.
I said they are not UNCC students.
Oh.
I'm sorry if I was misspoke there.
Gotcha. So there could be some students in the complex, but the people who live in this apartment are not students.
Not students.
Gotcha.
And I know you were saying too that it doesn't, like, you don't know yet if this right here is connected to anything else. Talk about how much more difficult that makes trying to catch someone who's out there that has done this, and why it is so crucial for that video evidence, for looking at license plate reading cameras, for having witnesses come forward and talking with you guys.
Well, in any case like this, we look at everything possible. We look at other calls for service in the area. We look at cameras. We try and expand our time frame. We look at other, any tips that we can get from the public or any other incidents that might be related. So we really try and take a broad approach and see if we can narrow it down to the suspect. So that's why we're requesting as much information as we can from the public. There's nothing too little not to give us.
Have you guys heard anything from the complex as to like what they're going to do moving forward, safety-wise, if they're going to increase patrol? I know they have like a gate.
They have a pretty secure gate out front, and we have been in touch with them, but I don't know exactly their plans.
And I was gonna, to piggyback off of that, I know they say that their gate is open and closes off when it's not business hours, whatever. But do you know if there's any camera surveillance or any video in that area, or anything just?
There is some cameras in the area, but nothing that captured anything that we believe is the suspect in this case.
Do you have reason to believe that he left on foot or got into a vehicle or just kind
We
of?
really can't say. We really don't know.
Did you get a decent description of the suspect?
We did in the description, and I'll give it again. It's the same as what was in the news release yesterday. The suspect is described as a black male in his 20s or 30s, between 5'8" and 5'10" tall, an athletic build. He was wearing a tan windbreaker, tan pants, a tan baseball cap, and had neck length twists coming out from under his cap.
And if you can, just talk about how, in a day and age where we have cameras all over the place, is it rare that you come across a case to where, cameras just weren't able to capture this person leaving? And how as a law enforcement officer, you kind of approach a situation like this to, okay, how do we fix our blind spots in an area like this?
Well, once again, despite the prevalence of cameras, we can't physically put a camera everywhere as a law enforcement agency. So we're really relying on the public, and they're anything from a Ring camera to surveillance cameras from private businesses to help us out. And it's just impossible to cover every single inch of space.
And when was the last time y'all were out there collecting video evidence?
I think our detective arrived back probably within the last half hour. He's been out there all morning.
All right, very good. Thank you, Captain Ivy.
Can we get the full spelling, full name?
For Ivy? Yep, so last name is Ivie. First name is James. Common spelling?
I-V-I-E.
Yep. So, our detectives are working around the clock working hard in this case to identify a suspect. University City Division is the ones that patrol this area. They're working hard, and again, like Captain Ivy mentioned, in coordination with UNCC Police, which is something that they do often. So the release that we sent out yesterday is still current, so there will not be another release that comes out. But again, just want to reiterate, we are asking for the public's help. And with any information, with camera footage, any surveillance, or just any other information that they can provide, we ask people to contact Crime Stoppers at 704-334-1600. And of course, they have a web presence also, the Crime Stoppers website, where we can be reached also on there. Thanks all for being here. Till next time.